Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in today. I will just take 1 second to share the slides. So today's topic is about KYC, and we will start our presentation by defining what is it. So, KYC is a process established by telecom operators to answer two questions. Who is the subscriber and what device he or she uses? We can simplify this process into 3 steps. The first step consists of collecting the data, collecting personal data or information about the subscriber. So the telecom operators would like to know the name, date of birth, address of the subscriber, etc. Then they need to validate this collected information using government-issued IDs, maybe use a national ID to check or cross-check with some national database to see if the subscriber is who is pretending to be. Telecom operators can also use some biometric verification like face recognition, etc. So once the telecom operator validates this information about the subscriber, then they identify the device the subscriber is using what is called IMEI. And as a last step, all this data is saved at a national register that is updated frequently. As I said before, this is a simplified presentation. Now I will present what is exactly happening. So once you buy a SIM card from like a shop, and they gather your personal data as part of this KYC compliance, link the SIM card that you purchased with your profile. So they link SIM number and your phone number with the profile that using the information, the personal information you provided or the subscriber provided. The third step consists of device registration. So they detect the device that the subscriber is using this IMEI, and they cross-check it with CEIR, which is a Central Equipment Identity Register. So when they cross-check with this register, they want to make sure that this device is not blacklisted and it is ready or okay to go. Once that is okay, the subscriber have access to the network, and the network will assign an IMSI number, that is the International Mobile Subscriber Identity, and also a temporary one for security reasons. So now the subscriber can use the network, but the telecom operators will still monitor the activity of the subscriber using this data they gathered to make sure that there is no fraud associated to this subscriber. So that was the KYC process. But why telecom operators should have this should implement this process? First of all, for regulatory compliance. So there are international and national laws that mandate to establish this KYC process. Why? First, for fraud prevention. For example, if you know what is a SIM box fraud, so in this SIM box fraud, the fraudsters use a bunch of SIM cards, local SIM cards, to reroute international calls as local calls, and all of this to gain this difference between international and national calls. And this fraud is based on buying a huge amount of SIM cards. So when this step is really easy to do, and you don't have any regulated process to provide this SIM card, this step will become very easy for fraudsters, and your system or your network will have fraud. Other type of fraud that can be also happened when your KYC process is weak is SIM swap. So SIM swap, some fraudsters will claim your number to use on other SIM card or other phones or other SIM cards to have access to your services. For example, if you access your bank account using your phone number, they can easily do that when your KYC is very weak. So strong KYC is really important for fraud prevention. A third advantage is market integrity. When your KYC is weak, the operators will float the market with the market with fake accounts. Why to do that? To fake a strong presence in the market, to get some advantages of or benefits from that. They can have a lot of uses of this. So when you have a strong KYC process, you ensure a market integrity. A fourth advantage is revenue assurance. When you have the operators have inaccurate information from their subscribers, it's easier for them to make accurate billing, and will reduce their revenue leakage. For regulators too, or it will be easier when we have this information to estimate the tax that the operator should pay. There is also system security. When you know who is on your telecom system, it's easy to block unauthorized devices and numbers from accessing your network. There is also national security, because when you can link a phone to a subscriber, you can easily track criminals and also prevent some illicit activities. One of the last but not the least advantages of KYC is customer experience. When you prevent fraud from your system as a telecom operator, you protect your customers. And so the customers will feel protected. They can have also enhanced access to services, for example, mobile money. If you have a strong KYC, it's easy to implement these services in your system. They can also have or profit from personalized services when they give accurate personal information about themselves. So these were the advantages of KYC and why it's important to have a strong KYC process or system. So as I explained before, the KYC process consists of two questions or two topics. The first topic is about the subscriber, and the second one is about the device. So now I will talk more about the subscriber identification. So here I present this slide as challenges and solutions, but you can really see it as what are the key techniques to implement an effective subscriber identification. So as the first challenge here, I list the manual data entry. So to collect the data about your customer, you can do that manually, but this is actually prone to error and fraud. It's easy here to use fake identities to create accounts or to buy SIM cards, etc. even without fraud, you can have just errors when you enter the data about subscribers. So an alternative and a better solution to that is the digital KYC solutions. So instead of typing manually the personal information of the subscriber, you can use a scan like governmental issued IDs to detect this data. You can leverage biometrics like face recognition, etc. So even when you implement a strong KYC, you will have a challenge that the data is spread across multiple operators. So each telecom operator will have its own register with this data, and then it will be really difficult to cross-check data between these registers. For example, there are countries that don't allow their subscribers to have more than 3 SIM cards. How to check that if all the data is spread across all of the different operators? So solution to that is to have a centralized subscriber register, a unique place where you can have information about the subscribers and the devices they use. Third challenge will be the evolving regulations. So regulations evolve and change constantly, and they do that actually to address the new technologies and threat of fraud. So telecom operators and regulators should adapt KYC frameworks that are flexible and that are also scalable to a lot of data, flexible so they can adjust quickly to new laws and new technologies. The fourth challenge is the security. So when you gather all this personal information about subscribers, it is prone to hacking and fraud. And the operators should make sure to have a secure system. But this secure system can be very costly, especially for new telecom or young telecom operators. So solution to that is that the government should encourage collaboration between different institutions like telecom operators, financial institutions, etc., because all of them will benefit from a KYC system. So having a KYC system that is very secure is at the advantage of everyone. Now that we talked about the subscriber identification, the next step is about the device register. So what are the advantages of device registry? First of all, fraud. When you know what devices are on your network, it will be very easy to identify and block unauthorized ones. So this way you will protect your systems and also your subscribers from fraud. You can also ensure a revenue assurance. So the the regulators can make sure that all the active devices on the networks comply with the tax and duty regulations and block any device that is not. National security also come as an advantage, again, because it will be easy to track illicit devices with illicit activities and usage. And the final advantage is the quality of service, because it will be easy again to identify the devices that cause network issues and block them to ensure a good quality of service. If you want to establish a device and identification system, there are two big challenges for that. The first one is the IMEI that I mentioned before, that I will define now, that stands for International Mobile Equipment Identity. This is a unique 15-digit number that identifies phones, mobile phones. If you have a mobile phone, you can just type the number that I'm showing here, and it will display on your screen the IMEI ID that is assigned to your phone. If you have a phone with two SIM cards, it will show two numbers. The problem with this identity number, this IMEI, is that it's easy to clone and manipulate. For example, I can give an example with Simbox again. With Simbox, they don't use mobile phones, but they can easily clone them or manipulate them so that they will show on the networks, the telecom networks, as valid ones. So this is a challenge, how to solve this challenge. And there is another challenge that's about unregulated devices. If you have devices that enter the market without being regulated, they will pose a security threat. And they will also present a financial loss if they go through the customs without, for example, paying their duties. And they will easily also disrupt the telecom networks. So to solve these problems, we propose some solutions, starting with this IMEI. First solution is to enforce mandatory registration of this number identity upon activation, but to make sure that this number is authentic, you have to use global databases like this GSMA IMEI database to see if this number is authentic or not. Real-time monitoring is also important to make sure that this number is not cloned or on the network, etc. For the unregulated devices, there should be a national register that integrates information from different institutions, from telecom operators and customs. This register should be integrated with the KYC, so to make sure that each device is linked with a verified subscriber. This also needs real-time monitoring to make sure that some devices are not used by different subscribers or a subscriber that is using on the same SIM card with different devices, etc. In addition to these 2 points, to have an effective device registry implementation, there should be regulatory enforcement that have clear mandates for the telecom operators, so it will be easier for them to comply to these regulations. Some fines and restrictions should be established for unregistered devices, so to encourage people to register their devices, and there should be periodic audits to make sure that everyone is complying to these laws. There should be also a public awareness, like nationwide campaigns to show to the people the importance of device registration. And also there should be some platforms provided and that are easy to use for device registration. In addition to that, there should be some advanced analytics that will help for fraud detection, if there are any, and also forecast some trend in device adoption, etc. As example of countries that implemented successfully this device registry or KYC processes, we have India. They have here, I just took a snapshot from their website for this CEI are that allows actually to block unauthorized mobile phones or stolen ones. So if there is a stolen mobile, it will be easy to block it using the system. Here we can see a dashboard that shows how many mobiles were blocked and how many mobiles were traced, etc. Traced. Sorry. There is also the example of Kenya. They just started in January to block unregularized phones. So they detect phones that didn't pay their customs and they just block them. They just started January this year implementing this process. So now if we have a strong KYC process implemented, how can we use data monitoring to help us leverage this data? Example of KPIs that regulators might be interested in, we can have overview ones that give us general information of what's happening, like total subscribers nationwide, but also per operator. We can also have an idea of the total active devices nationwide and also per operator. We can have some KPIs that tell us about device compliance, like the number of total registered devices, the blacklisted IMEIs, the number of cloned devices detected using machine learning, the number of unregistered IMEIs. We can have this information nationwide. We can have it also per operator. And what's more interesting, to have it per region, because maybe we can find some hubs where we have more fraud or more unregistered devices. We can have some KPIs about SIM registration. We can have daily or monthly SIM registrations nationwide and per operator. We can detect using machine learning some suspicious registration to block them or to investigate them further. We can detect some SIM swap fraud cases, also again using machine learning. We can have some fraud alerts, like the number or percentage of SIM and IMEI that actually match the register, and then the counterparty, the ones that don't match the register. We can detect the SIM cards that are using different devices or multiple IMEIs. We can detect that the IMEIs that using multiple SIMs, suspicious roaming devices, etc. Here I'm just giving some idea of KPIs that might be interesting. To give you just a hint how this data monitoring can give good insight to the regulators. Here I'm just showing a really small one that shows the number of subscribers. This data is simulated, so it's not real data. Here I'm just showing, for example, we might have a country that have 5 million subscribers and 4.5 million active devices. We have here a bar plot that show the distribution of this information per operator. So we can see, for example, that operator D has the majority of subscriber compared to the other operators. At the bottom here, I'm showing some gauge plots that show actually the average of registered devices divided by the number of active devices. So if there is 100%, it means that all active devices on the network are registered. So we can see, for example, that operator C has the lowest percentage. It means that actually this operator has the most or larger number of unregistered devices on its network. So with this, I end my presentation and don't have any questions.
I think it's time to wrap up this session. Thank you all for joining us today. For everyone who is celebrating it. We hope we found this webinar insightful. As mentioned, we will be sharing the recording with you after the session, so keep an eye on your inbox. If you have any questions later, feel free to reach out via email to me or to any other team members, and we will happy to assist you. Thank you, everyone. Wishing you a great day and see you in our next session.